Brian, why don't you tell us about another book that you've been reading?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Godzilla -1 earlier. My next book was a Godzilla book.
Hell yeah.
This is Godzilla Aftershock. This is written by Arvid Nelson, with lines by Drew Edward Johnson and colors by Alan Passalaqua, I believe is how that's pronounced. This is the back half of what they call the Monsterverse Titanthology.
Hell yeah. Like, why not?
Yeah. The first half is a King Kong story that I haven't gotten around to reading yet, but I fully intend to.
Mm-hmm.
This is set shortly after the 2014 Godzilla movie, but it features characters who are like going to go on to be the main characters of the Godzilla King of the Monsters sequel.
Okay.
In this book we have the Muto Prime, the basically a bigger, badder version of the monsters from the first Godzilla, is tearing ass around the world trying to pick fights with the G-Man himself, because apparently this thing is like a parasitic wasp and it wants to lay its eggs inside Godzilla.
Totally understandable, you know.
Yeah, which I thought was an interesting twist. The way they got there didn't make a whole lot of sense, where they were like, see, this cavern is just like this other cavern, because it's not actually a cavern, it's the hollow left by a decomposed Godzilla body.
Okay. So there were previous Godzillas, is the implication there?
Yeah. I don't know enough about geology or biology to say if that's how that works or not.
Yeah.
It felt like a bit of a stretch, but then again, this is a Godzilla book. So.
The concept of the hollow earth also doesn't fully align with real world geology.
Reality.
Yeah. So I would say just I wouldn't worry too much about that one.
That's a good point. Just gotta relax, let the giant monsters flow over me.
Right.
Which unfortunately I think works a lot better in film or in any other like animated medium.
Sure.
And I don't want to say that this book was like bad. I think that, you know, it was well written. I think the art looked great. They did a good job of like giving Godzilla expressions instead of just making him look like a giant lizard. I just think that you lose so much of the impact of these movies when you're just staring at a still image.
Sure. Yeah, Godzilla's humongousness, I guess, and like the way he moves is a core part of the Godzilla creature and franchise, I think. So I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and like the sound design in those movies is some of my favorite stuff. Like that charge up noise that Godzilla makes when he's gonna fire his laser breath,
dude,
so good. And the roar they have for him is amazing, and you don't get any of that in a silent medium.
Right.
Now, Brian, might I recommend, if you want a little bit more of the action, maybe check out the the Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong book. Once it's all collected, because I'll just sell it to you like this, and this is how I'm selling it to people. You get to see Superman punch Godzilla in the face, and if that doesn't get you in there, I don't know if anything else will. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a good time to be a Godzilla fan with like the movie, the Monarch show on Apple TV, like all these comic books. Yeah, we're thriving.
Have you watched that Monarch show? Is that any good?
It is fantastic. Seeing Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell play the same character in different time, like father and son playing the same character, it's so much fun. On top of like the show also takes place after the 2014 Godzilla movie, and also I guess the timeline of the Skull Island movie, and those are two of my favorite ones from that universe, specifically Skull Island. So like, yeah, I'm really really enjoying it. I'm actually gonna watch the newest episode right after we get done here.
I just rewatched King of the Monsters the other day, which is like such an amazing spectacle and such a dog shit movie.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue in this movie is some of the worst I've ever heard. But then Godzilla comes up and I'm just like, yay.
Yes.
Jangle your keys in front of me again.
Oh, Ghidorah, let's go.
Isn't that Monarch show? Isn't that the Matt Fraction TV show
It
that he
is.
worked on? Okay,
Correct.
cool. So if you need a comic book tie-in, folks, I just did it for you. Go watch Monarch. It's based on work from a comic creator. I want.